Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
What's up, friends? Welcome back to the TV Terminal. My name is Adam Vale, Senior Editor over at thecoalition.com.
And I'm Josh Lamage, writer for the Coalition. And I'm back.
And back. Yes, that's right. That's right. Because if for those who've been following the channel, you know, Josh and I were covering The Last of Us, and here we go, big finale, episode 7, and poof, he ditched me. He ding dong ditched to go spend time with Chris Angel over in Vegas.
My friend.
No,
shout out to Chris Angel. That show was great.
Shout outs. He was a cool guy. I met him way back when he had his cabaret show over on Times Square. For those that I don't know why everyone thinks he's just from Vegas. He's not. He's from Long Island. You know, and he's from the New York area, so he would do his little cabaret show. Remember at the WWE restaurant when that was around,
throwback.
And right on the side. So I remember he was in the front. He was like bending forks and doing all stuff. Like, hey, $20, you come in, you get to see a show. So I was like, all right, fine, let's go. Went down there, saw the show, great show, talked to him, and he had a playbill, and I said, I had him sign it. I was like, yeah, why not? Maybe one day you blow up. And he's like, yeah, thanks. Who knows? Maybe. Oh yeah, like I think it was like probably a year and a half later, Mind Freak came out on E or no, it's A&E on A&E. Yeah. And I'm like, I know this dude, you know, and then sure enough, he blew up, went to Vegas. The rest is history. But yes, there we go. We drifted off. Life. He's making it. Yep. Shout out to Chris Angel. Maybe we'll get him on and talk to him. But I was like, yo, remember me? He probably doesn't, but he should. Anyway, so people, as you know, this is a new show. This is Revival. So this is a Revival. It is the new show that is debuting June 12th over on the Sci-Fi channel, and then a week later it will pop up on Peacock. So if you don't have cable or Hulu with the TV services, YouTube TV service, or any of those that have the TV service with Sci-Fi, you will have access to this when it debuts over on Peacock. So because it's a new show and a lot of people are like, what is this? We put together a quick fact sheet. Go ahead, Josh, spit it out.
All right. So Revival is a supernatural horror noir. The show is based on the Image Comics series of the same name. It was created by Tim Seeley and Mike Norton. They are both involved in the TV show, but they're not showrunners. There were 47 issues released from July 2012 to February 2017. And the story centers on a rural Wisconsin town, where the recently deceased rise from their graves. The show has a couple of stars. Melanie Scrofano playing Dana Cypress. She's known for a horror movie Ready or Not and the TV show Wynonna Earp.
Apparently that's big. There's like 2 of them, but I do remember her from Ready or Not. That was a good one. Remember that? That was the one where she was getting married. She had to go meet the guy's family, and then they were hunting her down in the house.
Yes, yeah. That was
that creepy show.
Yeah. That, but yeah, okay. So she was like probably one of the family members or something.
Yep, probably somewhere. Yep.
Oh, sweet. We got Rami Weltzman playing Martha M. Cypress, so they call her M. She's known for Creeped Out and what is it, Pradeeps of Pittsburgh?
Yeah, Pradeeps of Pittsburgh. Yeah, I don't know, but apparently they were pretty big. That at least that show was.
Okay.
But maybe you know who she is.
All right, we got David James Elliott, who plays Wayne Cypress, the head of the police department.
That's Dana and M's dad.
He was in the TV show Jag.
So yeah, that was the one thing when I was looking around just finding more info, and he's apparently did all the episodes on that. He did some other big parts here and there, but if you watch Jag, you might recognize who this guy is.
We don't have his picture, I believe, but Stephen Ogg. He's known for GTA 5. Trevor.
Well, GTA 5. Yeah, I didn't want to put that in because he doesn't pop up in the first episode.
Oh, my bad.
If you did see him in the first episode, everybody, then go ahead and comment. But remember, that's Trevor from GTA.
Hey, that's another reason to watch the show.
There we go. And Simon from The Walking Dead. He was the right-hand man for Negan. Again, shout out to my other show, I Am Negan, over on the Coalition. I definitely recognize this dude for those 2 main roles there as Trevor and Simon.
We got Andy McQueen, who plays Ibrahim Ramin. He's known for Station 11 and Outer Banks. I remember him from Outer Banks.
Oh,
But
I remember him from Station 11, man.
it's
Station
crazy because
11.
in Outer Banks, he plays a character from Barbados, I believe. So he has like
Oh,
a
he does?
really, really strong accent. I was like, wow, this guy's like straight from Barbados. Like, that's such a
He
cool.
did this awesome. Him and another character in Station 11, they did this whole A Tribe Called Quest song breakdown. I mean, they did the whole lyrics. It was awesome. Great performance. That show was awesome. It's on HBO. Station
Gotta
11
peep that.
season.
Yeah.
Really dark. It came out around the time of COVID. I know they delayed it for a while because it has to deal with a pandemic stuff. Your chance.
Horrible time.
Horrible timing. It's based
Uh,
it was a whole big thing, but they were like, "Hey, this is fantastic. Let's release it." And yeah, it came out. But
yeah, and then we got later on coming in the series, which is probably a good thing for anyone watching this right now. CM Punk, the wrestler, coming in soon.
Yes, CM Punk. Now this is interesting. Now I looked it up to find out: is this just a cameo? Is this one of those things where he just pops up, or they're watching TV? Because as we get into the review of the episode, there's stuff going on, or did he come to town in some random way? I don't know. But apparently, he says it's a reoccurring role, and it's just labeled as CM Punk. Just CM Punk. So does he play himself?
That'd be cool. Like he used that and came back.
Like he's popped up on shows before. I don't know if you watch Heels. That was on Showtime. It was 2 seasons. That was what's his name? The guy from Arrow, Stephen Hamel. I think that's it. I'm pronouncing it right. But the guy that played Arrow.
And everyone's gonna be.
Oh, it was a good show, at least for the first few seasons. Yep.
And I love
so
archery.
It was a wrestling base. Yeah, he does. He's got some arrows. He's got some skills. Pew pew pew. Shoot the arrows. But yeah, he popped up on there and he played another wrestler type, but didn't play as CM Punk. Yeah, he was playing the character, but still wrestling based. So yeah, it's interesting. On IMDb also, it just says CM Punk. So he does not pop up in this first episode. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, he's linked to it. So we will get into that. But man,
all right.
That's it. So that's a quick rundown. So again, people, as you see, this is based off of that comic, and I went back. I read some of these comics before many years ago. And when I found out, I was like, oh, the show's coming out. I was like, you know what? I want to cover this. Let me read the first issue again. And it's pretty much spot on. They added some things, but for the most part, this all took place in the first issue. So if you are someone who was like, oh, I like to follow the source material, I like to see what they changed, if that's your thing, go ahead and pick up issue 1, I should say, Revival. It's pretty much all there. This is it.
You got the whole show right there, hopefully. All right, so the episode starts with it's like a snowy landscape.
Oh, hey, real quick, let's just say the name of it. This is episode 1. Yeah, Revival. Season 1, episode 1. Don't tell Dad, because she's got a dark secret. Mm-hmm. Like most kids, I got those secrets.
We all have secrets. All right, so the episode starts with a crematorium. Shows the sign of it, goes down, and we see, I guess, what do you call him? A mortician? It's the morgue.
He was really goofy. We pointed that out.
Some of the characters, right? Does he do autopsies as well? He's like the town author.
I guess so, because he was about to do a cremation, and go ahead.
I feel like morticians are more for like funeral homes. No, well, I guess they. Anyways, yeah,
he's a person that works at the morgue. We find out his name is Randy, right? Later on, so we'll just bring it up now. So it's Randy, works down there. It looks like we have a local college student or someone, Miss Tao. That's what I wrote down here. That's what he refers to. Says she's filming this. And it's like, what's the point? It's like, oh, just one of those odd jobs out there. We're putting together a piece to talk about odd jobs, and this is one of them.
Which is cool. It's something that I feel like not a lot of people talk about. Yeah.
Well, that's where we got Deadliest Catch. Remember that show, Deadliest Catch, with the crab fisherman? Yeah. And it was on. Oh, man, I forgot. Was it
Discovery?
Was that on? Was it Discovery?
Discovery or History.
Yeah. I think it was Discovery Channel. You're right, because there was a series. It was like 10 dangerous jobs, most deadliest jobs, something to that. 10 dangerous, deadliest jobs in the world, and this was number 1, which was the crab fisherman out in the Barents Sea. and how dangerous it is and all that stuff. And to the point that picked up and got its own show, and till this day is still running. It's like, I don't know, 20 years. Yeah, it is wild. I've seen some amazing episodes though. One dude jumped off the boat on purpose to go get the tusk of a walrus that was dead, and he's native, and apparently only natives are allowed to claim those and sell them. Right.
Okay.
So when they were like, "Oh, we're trying to grab a rope to try to pull it up," and he's like, "Forget it," and he just jumped off. It's on YouTube, people. You can see the fisherman jumps off Deadliest Catch. You just see him. He takes his clothes off, and while the captain's talking to the cameraman, you just see off into the side of on the right side. You just see, what the hell, man, overboard. He just jumped.
Crazy.
So he can get the rope around the walrus, and then they pulled it up, and he got the tusk. I think it was like 10,000 each or something like that. Some crazy amount.
Oh, all right. Then, yeah, I would jump in too.
But that's why you have to do it. Yeah. And since he's native, he's allowed to do this. So it was crazy show. But yeah, anyway, so he puts the body into the furnace.
It was a body of a John Doe. So
Yep,
he was just like, let me just throw this in there. She's filming. He's talking about it. All of a sudden, you start hearing screaming as he turns on the creator. He turns it on. You hear screaming, banging. This bunch of stuff is happening, and then it busts open, and this guy comes out just completely on fire. The girl drops the camera. She's screaming. Everyone's like freaked out, and he just runs out. And then I'm like, what is happening? Because I didn't know anything about this, which was perfect going into this. All of a sudden, everybody that's in the freezer starts banging, and the body that was in a body bag gets up, and it's a whole thing going on. So we could go to the first picture.
Oh yeah. Let's get into that. Boom.
No, the one with her with the box.
Oh, where's what? Oh shoot! See, I got all these pictures all screwed up again. This thing screwed up on me.
All right, we can leave this one. Doesn't matter.
That's all right. Both. Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah,
no. Oh, do you know why? Because it's mislabeled. This damn thing mislabeled all my pictures. I feel like this has happened before. There we go.
We're just starting out in this channel. We got some little things going on, but we got it running.
Yeah.
We got it running.
All right. Yeah, we got it. For those people listening, like, what the hell are they talking about? But on YouTube, you see what happens, right? So anyway, yeah, she's packing up. This is Dana. They don't really go too much into early on, but we'll just spill the beans here. This is Dana Cypress. She's the one that we talked about before. She is a police officer working for her dad, who's off in the background there. That is Wayne, the sheriff. Yeah. So as we see what's going on here is she's packing up. She's heading out. She's got a new job out of town. She's leaving Dodge. This is it. I think it's called Mountain Bay. That's Mountain Bay over Wisconsin. She's leaving. She wants to move on to bigger, better things. He's flipping out. He's like, you can't leave right now. At the same time, his phone is blowing up.
Always blowing up. Always blowing up. Phone.
That's it. The whole time. There's always something going on.
Honestly, worst day to be like packing up because this phone call changes everything. So some guy's freaking out. He's like, hey, like, I need you to go over there. You're still on duty. You're still technically an officer. Like, I need you to go to respond to this thing. So she's like, all right, whatever. So she goes out there, and there's like little hints of comedy in this side, I'm feeling. So it's a cool little dynamic between her and her father. But, you know, I'm assuming in this town, there's not much going on. So she's like, all right, let me see what's going on. And as she's driving to this, the site of the person that called, she pulls over to the side of the road, and now she's at a cemetery. And we can pull up that other picture. Yeah. And
she's freaking out because right off the bat, we see like people wandering around. What am I doing here? What's happening? You see a naked guy running across. This is all the people that just either got up from the morgue and also from other areas as we find out. Because at first I thought, and even from reading the comics, I thought that they say go into it. It had to have happened on this day at that time, wherever you died, then you just come back. So I don't,
like the blip in like Marvel.
Like the blip, or there was that other show where everyone just disappeared. The Leftovers. That was a great show on HBO.
My thing is like you could go at this and be like, okay, like what they found themselves in a coffin and they crawled their way out somehow, or like,
well, that's what we do know, and they sort of go into it, but we could just bring it up here. This happened only in this one town. Throughout the entire United States, it's only this one town that these people, the revived, the dead, started coming back, and it was only on this one day.
Yeah, it's everybody that died around on this day, or like
what was it? You said December. There was
December
a date.
4th.
December 4th.
So
right?
yeah.
Mm-hmm. And while she's looking at all this, not sure what to make of it, a little girl comes up, and this is where they pull the heartstrings, right? Little girl comes up sad. She's like, "Where's my mommy? I'm looking for my mother." The whole thing, and it's like, "Oh my Lord, what is happening here?"
My question, real quick. I don't want to throw this off, but like, you have funerals, you have an embalming process, you have removal of organs and things like that. Like, how does? I'm just curious about that. Like, if you know anything about that from the comics, or that's just not it. It doesn't have to be as serious or as real as that. I'm just curious.
They sort of bring that up. And in fact, they bring it up here. The CDC guy sort of brings it up when he starts talking about like the healing process, the rehealing. And it's almost as if these things start coming back, but they're still doing studies. They're still trying to figure it out. We'll get into it. That's why they opened up shop there, because like, well, there's something else going on here. In the comic, they weren't sure if this was like some kind of weird attack, on them. Well, why this one town? What happened here? Why this is like a little town in New Orleans? But
that adds to the mystery of this whole thing, because that's cool. Yeah, so then after this, we cut to television, a TV news station talking about 35 days later, since the revival day, the whole town is quarantined right now. Okay, so knock back to the CDC quarantine days. Now this town is going through it for different reasons. And I'm surprised
but lockdown is over.
Quarantine.
That was the other.
Not really. Yeah, the lockdown is over. So people could leave their houses and stuff. So they're thinking, what, it's like a disease or something?
Yeah, they weren't sure. They weren't sure what was causing it. I just brought this dude up because he does come into play.
Yeah, no, we can leave him. Yeah, because that's important.
Yeah, we could bring him up. But because his role is he's a CDC. He's a new member of the team. But at the time they didn't know. They didn't know what was going on. So they said, we'll put a lockdown. Now, the lockdown has been lifted by the mayor, right? That's one of the things that we found out from the news report. But the town is still under quarantine. You can't leave. And that makes sense because they don't know what's going on. The families, the people that revived were sent back to their homes. Like,
which is wild.
Which is wild. But it's like, what do you do? What are you supposed to do?
I feel realistically, they would hold them down. They would run tests on them. There'll be some alien stuff going on.
And this plays a big part throughout the entire series that I remember. Again, this was years ago. Like 2012, around 2013 when I remember reading this. But I remember it was a big part. That's what made this a twist from your typical, Walking Dead zombies coming around. It's that they're not coming back as the zombie. They're coming back very much alert. Some don't even realize that they even died, because let's say it was an accident, they got hit by a car or something like that. And then they just wake up and are like, oh, okay. You were dead for like a day or two. What?
I feel like that makes for such good situations, because you got people that like loved ones that passed from, illnesses, but then you also got people that were murdered and now facing their murderer probably.
Hey, and some of that, all that definitely comes up. That comes up throughout the series. Cool. And that's what makes this, and this is why it's called a horror noir. Because there is a mystery here. This is not just, let's tell these funny stories. No. There's something deeper and darker that comes in, which is why I think some of the characters that we do have images for and stuff we're not going to show, because I think they play a bigger part going forward, and they just have not popped up yet.
So 47 people have been revived that we know of. And that's like a big deal where, there could be numerous ones that we didn't even know were dead that came back. So but 47 accounted for. So then we cut to a girl, Emily.
Well,
or not Emily, Martha. Right?
M. Yeah. We got the sister. She shows up. Now this threw me off a little bit because I wasn't expecting this part to come up in here. But she shows up at the house, right? Wasn't that weird? But this is what I don't get.
In the bathtub.
In the bathtub, right? But she showed up. We heard her talking to Dana, right, in this scene.
She's not talking to Dana in
she-
this scene specifically. She wakes up in the bathtub, and her roommate or some friend of hers or
that
because I
was
think
it.
she's in college.
Oh, okay.
Somewhere
Yeah,
that
yeah,
comes
yeah.
to
Okay.
visit her, and she's like, "Oh, the
Yep, yep.
lockdown's over. Like, where have you been? Like, what's happening?" And she walks into the room. The whole room is filthy, food everywhere, things rotting and stuff.
Yeah,
and,
yeah. That's right. That's right.
So
Yeah,
Emma's
yeah.
in
So
the
it's definitely
yeah.
at the dorm. Yep, it's the dorm, and yeah, she woke up in there. So then right there, it's interesting because it's like, all right, well, the friend is saying, "Where have you been?" It's been all like you said, the room was a mess.
But my thing is that that's
So
not 35 days later. That's then, or that's
yeah,
because I believe that was 35 days later. I don't know.
that's present. Their
Okay, that's present.
present.
Yeah, so she
Yeah,
didn't
that's
just
their
wake up
present.
there, or I guess she was
Mm.
napping in the water or something.
Napping in the water. That's not a good look. You should not nap in the water.
Well, people
There
I'm
was
sure fall asleep
what
in the
show?
bathtub
Oh man,
sometimes.
there was another show that I saw that happened, but it was different. It was a kid. She was bathing her kid, and
It was
she
it
took
was on Apple. It was
It was
that
on app.
that show with the girl that has powers and they think she's like God or some
Oh
you know what I'm talking
man,
about?
what
It has
was
the guy from
I'm
Harry
trying
Potter
to?
in it.
Oh man, I don't remember. All I remember is that she fell asleep,
Yeah.
and you see the little boy. The water's filling. He's in the tub, and then he goes to reach to get out, and he slips, and he's going under a
Yeah.
few times.
Yeah,
And
and
it
then
made
that's
it
why she
seem
gets
like,
the
oh,
reborn doll later, and then that lady that moves in with her later has the reborn doll becomes alive again or
oh
something.
man, oh
We'll
man,
we'll
this
find
is
the name of
dark.
that show.
This is
That
dark.
show's good.
This
It's
is
on
dark.
Apple.
You're giving me nightmares now. Here we go.
Oops.
So let's just bring it. No, I'm putting up M. Putting up
Yeah,
M.
yeah.
Yeah, because this is it. So yep. So then that's where we go with that. But then after that, I think that's where we get the crazy scene outside a bar. Right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
the part
so
where
so Dana,
Mhm.
I guess
So
everybody was under lockdown.
they were all
What
under
was it?
lockdown, but now it's been lifted because that was the thing.
Yeah,
That part we find it was lifted. That whole thing. It looks like Dana went out to go party, right?
we
So
know
she's
that
at the
feeling.
bar. We see, yeah, exactly. Got to get that release. She leaves the bar. She's with Ibrahim, but she doesn't know. She doesn't know his name. She doesn't even care, right? She then drags him into the car, in her car, and they're fooling around. She's getting all excited, and then she starts getting this call on real. Hey, you got to report. You got to go. We got these issues. All this stuff is going on at the station. All this craziness. She was like, she didn't want to deal with this. But this guy, he says he's new to town. He doesn't know. He wants to talk, and it's like, nope. That's it. Forget it. Get out.
Kicks him out of the car. He's like,
Just kicks him out. Got him.
oops.
She reminded me very much this character, and I brought this up with Fiona from Shameless.
Mm.
That was the vibe I was getting. Did you ever watch Shameless?
Yeah, I watched
put it up.
a couple episodes of the first season. I've been meaning to like really dive into it because everyone,
Oh,
my,
it was
my
fantastic.
girlfriend's like, "Oh, you haven't watched Shameless?" Like everyone's like,
It was
"Gotta
fantastic
watch
until
it."
the season finale, the last season, because I just mentioned Fiona. The actress had left
Oh.
at that point, and they're like, "Oh, well, she'll be back now that it's wrapping up, right? She'll be back." No, she's not back. They don't even mention her. They do nothing, and that made no
That's like
sense.
Topher Grace in the '70s show. They just dip out the last season.
Yeah, and as much as they want to play the politics and say, "Oh no, we left on good terms," it's like clearly you didn't, because if you did, you would at least pop up, or at
real.
least a phone call. Even if you don't pay for the appearance, have a phone call. Someone call in. It's like, "Oh, Fiona's on the phone. Oh yeah, you heard this, blah 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 blah." No, they didn't do that, but whatever. Let's move on.
So
Oh,
Dana
man.
responds to the call. Her father's like, "Oh, you gotta, they're talking about a dead horse," and she's like, "I don't take care of animals. Like, I don't follow with animals. Like, what are you talking about?" She's like, "Just go over there." So she drives over there. We find a dead horse in the middle of the road.
Yeah. Dead horse in the middle of the road. But what's interesting with this dead horse in the middle of the road is that she finds a bunch of teeth.
Yeah,
And it looked like human teeth.
human teeth, fresh
like
teeth, enamel,
human teeth.
fresh, everything.
Yeah. It's like, what's up with this?
So she picks those up, and then she walks over a little bit further, and she finds also the guy that owned the horse, I guess, is creeping up behind her, so gives her a bit of a jump scare, and he's like, what do you think happened to my horse over here? She's like, "Did you drive here? Did you drive through?" He's like, "Yeah, I drove through here, but You know,
But
so
then he starts talking about something, which is also I was thrown off with this. He's like, "Oh, what about my books?" And starts talking about the books that he's written. I was like, "What? That's so
I
random."
guess he's
Like,
a
I guess
successful author. He has horses. He's
I
wealthy.
guess it's gonna come up. I don't remember that in the comic. Maybe I brushed over it, but yeah, it must play a big part later on for him to bring that up. But he talks about his books and this whole thing and how did this horse get here?
She walks
You know,
over and she finds a coyote dead, but there's also some I guess the coyote got ensnared in a trap, and the trap had like old. Well, we'll find out in a little bit, but it had like some old stuff, you know, made from the components of that trap, and then she found more teeth. So now, you know, she's confused about the whole situation. Like, where's his teeth? Why are there human teeth over here biting into these animals? That's different for Wisconsin. So
yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there are coyotes there. Maybe they are. I don't know. If you're in Wisconsin, do you know anything about
yeah,
these
let us
coyotes?
know about coyotes.
Oh boy.
I don't know much
All
about
right.
coyotes. All right,
What do we got next? Yep.
so then it cuts to Dana's son who's back in school, and
Cooper. Yep.
yeah. So he walks
They're
into
all allowed to
class.
go back to school. Yep. Go ahead.
He walks into class. He sits down. Now they're back in school. For some reason, they throw a piece of paper at him, and in the paper it shows a picture of a girl, all zombified, and it says zombie. And he turned the camera pans to his left, and you see the little girl, the one that approached his mom earlier in the cemetery, and she's just sitting next to him, and she's like, "I don't feel like a zombie." Like,
Yeah, and that was not the little girl that we saw at the
oh, it
beginning.
wasn't. It was a different girl.
I don't think so. If
Oh.
it was, leave in the comments. It cleaned her up, but
You're
let's
right.
say it is.
Yeah, dark hair,
But
right?
I
The
don't.
other one was like more blonde.
Yeah, it didn't even look like her, but I'm not sure. But either way, the point is, this little girl at some point had died.
Because there was
For
a
who
little
knows?
girl on the gurney in the beginning in the crematorium
Yeah.
that they didn't say anything about.
Yeah, and I think if I remember right, like every issue introduced another story of something, but there is an overarching story over
Oh, that's
everything.
cool.
But which is how did this whole thing happen? What's going on? You know. But then we're coming across all these people that came back, and they all have a different story to tell, and are
I
acting
think it's
different
interesting that
from the revival.
I think it's interesting that people are getting bullied or being ostracized for coming back. Like you would think
Yeah.
it'd be some kind of like miracle, like, oh my god, like how was it? What was death like? This
Well,
and that. Like,
one of the things that in that first issue that they sort of bring up, and it doesn't really get brought up here. There's another moment in the scene where Dana, in fact, I think it was that scene when she was just getting Cooper ready for school, and you could hear there's this radio program in the background and two people talking about the whole thing. But in the comic, they sort of that conversation they're playing off of is if has something to do with God. If this is a religious movement, something happened that, oh, I think all these people that died were Christian and this is God bringing them back. And it's like, no, I don't get religion involved. This could have been something else deeper, darker. It's some crazy experiments and stuff like that. You know, so it's just theories. And that's something else that we find out later, which I think we're going to find out later because there's a little more going on in a later scene when we get into it with the mayor and the sheriff talking about what's happening, is that people still trying to figure out what caused this. Now, yes, the little girl, she's there, she's in school, fine. We don't know what happened, how she died, and it clearly doesn't look like anything horrific. Or you know what I mean? Like she's like all
because they
mangled.
they say in a little bit that like how you died will still present on your physical form. So so I guess we don't see. So maybe it was an illness or something.
Yeah, it was an illness or something like that, or something internal that went bad, and
but yeah, so directly after this, we're back in the precinct, and all these people are asking questions. They're like, what about all these people? Who's here? And we have this old lady like, have you heard from my husband? He died December 3rd. is he
oh
around?
Yes.
And she's freaking out. She's like, and that must suck to lose someone the day before everyone gets revived. I'd be tight too, but she's really adamantly about that.
Because
so
then
no, you got it.
All right, so then so I brought up what Wayne, just so people can start linking all this again. So Dana walks in, she's talking to the officers there, and he says, oh yeah, there's a new guy. It's like a new person. It's like, yeah, but then you could hear Wayne, the sheriff, he's arguing with someone in his office, and it turns out it's the mayor, right? Trying to figure out how to deal with all this because he's getting all these calls. He's got all this stuff going on. And this is expected now that the quarantine's lifted. People are running around. They're trying to figure things out. I mean, not the quarantine, sorry, the lockdown. And so they're still trying to figure things out. And the
He
mayor
wants to send people
out.
away. He wants to send them away. He wants, I guess he's saying it's bringing bad attention to the town. It's confusing. It's a
But the
weird
town's already
situation.
quarantined. It's like the tension is going to be there. If anything, there's probably less attention from what we see. Because if this happened in present day,
Oh my gosh, the whole world.
Oh man, the whole world, every network from BBC to you name it would be.
Things would stop. I
outside.
think things would be
Oh, yeah.
very confusing. Yeah,
They would go nuts. People would go nuts. Just trying to figure this out.
So many questions. They'll be on like all these talk shows and stuff probably. Yeah. So then and the chief makes a really good point here. He says, when you die, you die. Like this shouldn't be happening. And yeah, that's valid.
This shouldn't be happening. You're right.
So then Dana shows up to the precinct herself, and she sees her coworkers, and they're like, "Oh, he's vetting the new guy." She's like, "What new guy?" I'm like, the cutie patootie in the office, which was a funny line to say. And then she walks in, and lo and behold, it's Ibrahim.
It's Ibrahim, yeah.
And now it's awkward because now he's like, "Oh, hey, you know, from the other night." And then the dad's
this
like,
is where and this is sort of to your point before we started recording. You're like, oh, the lines and some of the quirkiness, and this is it. This comes up because while they're acting a little weird, and it's like, well, would you be acting this way in this situation with all the stuff happening? Maybe yes, maybe no. It is 35 days removed from all this chaos, not this interaction with them, but just with the overall
I'd be
experience with the
pleasantly
town.
shocked, but I would keep it to myself a little bit. Like me and her know what the deal is. Like I'm not gonna be like, well, excuse me, which I feel, whatever, he's a quirky character. They're trying to be like he's the nerdy CDC guy.
Oh yeah, he's a stereotype. Yeah,
that's the thing.
So he.
I wouldn't be surprised if some of the scenes are improv.
That'll be something to find out. Well, maybe. But he heads out of the office, and then instantly, again, this I don't know if this was something someone would say, but the dad was like, "Did you have sex with him? Like, is this?
Did you sleep with him?
Yeah, that was it. Did you sleep with him? Like, how would you know? How would you bring that up?
Father,
right?
What? I guess they got that relationship, so that's what's awesome.
I guess so. But basically talking about that and that he's brought in the CDC. They're still trying to figure this out. They're going to run some tests, all this stuff, and he needs help. He needs help. He needs her to get involved and really step up because there's got some other stuff going on. And she says, well, she can't really do too much because she's still trying to find out with the horse thing, and she's going to track that down. So
she gets a call, and I believe the lady's name is Helen or something, but she's on the phone with her and basically tells her like, hey, the position that that we were going to give you, we had to give it up to someone else because it's been too long. So we could tell because of the quarantine and everything that's been happening, people are losing opportunities, which is very true.
You're not coming back.
Yeah, so she's upset about that. But then now she's wondering where the horse is. So the CDC apparently says they have the horse. So,
well, they said they had the horse, but then when she goes down, right, didn't she speak with Randy? And then Randy was like, no, because that was the thing. Randy said he had the horse, and the CDC took the horse.
Yeah. There's no horse?
There's no horse.
So Dana goes to, I guess, like a gymnasium where the CDC has their whole like little office setup going
temporary
on.
Setup. Yeah,
that's funny. And she sees Ibrahim again, and she's like, "Hey, look, like, can we just pretend like nothing happened? Like, let's just be professional about the whole thing." And he's like, "Yeah, of course, yeah." And she keeps touching the evidence of this, like, one, I guess, nail.
Yeah, it was a railroad spike.
Yeah.
Right, but they start getting into a little conversation back and forth, what they know, and that's when it comes up with the teeth. Because he says, look, this is what we found. We found these teeth that were inside the horse of somebody. And then she was like, oh, I found teeth too. And she has a little evidence baggie. And then she takes them out. They examine. He realizes they're a match. So this came, but he doesn't say it's from a human. That's what I was waiting for. I was waiting for him just to say, "Oh well, these are human," because he points out it's canine and the whole thing, and he doesn't bring it up, but
I guess by clarifying what type of tooth it was, maybe it was like a specifically human tooth.
I guess.
I don't
But
know.
I feel like they
Dentists,
left it.
comment below.
Right? Exactly. Just let us know, maybe. But then he's like, let me show you something, right? Because they were like, they look new. They look in good condition, these teeth. And then he cuts. He's like, this is from one of the revivers.
Flesh.
Right? He
Yeah.
cuts. Yep. He cuts open the tissue, and then he just like it heals up.
So it's like any new wounds, anything that's new, they get healed. Anything that happened before, it doesn't get healed. Which is funny to me. What if someone got shot? Are they still just bleeding out? Like, just questions.
I don't know.
I'm thinking too
We need
specifically
answers.
into this probably, but it's just it's a cool story. But
It's definitely cool. Yep. Mhm.
So M, we go back to M now. She's back she's in college, it seems. She's sitting in her class, and people are meeting with the professor. I don't know if it's maybe the professor of the class or a meeting with a worker.
It's a professor. I think it's a
professor?
professor because when she called him later on, it said the professor. It's like,
Professor, got you.
yeah, he's a professor. So he seems shocked to see her.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right. Kind of shocked. Kind of scared.
And,
kind of scared too. But it could be multiple things, right? That's clearly it looks like they were having some kind of affair. And it's a professor-student situation. That's a big no-no, depending on where you go to school. Sometimes some people like to keep it on the low and accept it. But
when you're in college, I guess it's like
it's a little different than high school. Yeah. I mean, in my high school, I knew I had a scandal in my school.
Oh, mine
had
too.
A certain teacher with a football player, and
our gym teacher.
See, here we go. But was yours it was a male gym teacher?
It was a female gym teacher.
Yeah. See, mine too. There was a teacher.
Hey, look at that.
Teacher. Yeah, and then got some stuff, and they were like, whoa. But it didn't make big news, and it was like a slap on the wrist, and things stopped. But if it was reversed, I think it would have been a little bit more.
Oh, 100%.
It just.
I remember kids would dap. I mean, not to get into that, but they would high five him in the hallways. Like the whole school knew about it. Anyways.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those double standards. It's like, how you see things. But anyway, it is what it is.
Messed up. It's messed up,
it looks like,
but
right. And it's either way. Either way, you shouldn't be doing it. Yeah, they're minors. But here in college, you're in your 20s, depending on what year you're in. But it looks like that's what I'm gathering from. They had some kind of relationship. Professor pretty much says, hey, we can't talk here. Can't talk now. Let's meet up at her spot at 7 p.m. Right? It's like, all right, that's it. We're going to meet up. And she's like, oh, okay. All right, fine. And then poof, she's gone.
Yeah.
Right. So then we get over back with Dana. Right? Because she's visiting. I already did that. We already did that part. That was
she's looking. So she decides because she's like, all right, how many people do we know accounted for?
Yeah.
The list of 47. She said some of the evidence that was found around the horse, especially the weapons, the traps that were made specifically from this spike from the railroad. So she was like, who lived by the railroad? Turns out some guy named, what was his name? Miles,
and he went to jail.
And he died in jail from a stroke. And so he's one of the revived, and he's on the run now because he's back now.
Might as well, right? Just continue on. And that's also cool to understand is that they remember everything. So it's not one of those things like, I'm back. Wait, what am I supposed to do? It's as if they just closed their eyes 1 second and opened again. And
I'd be so
now
excited
they're
to go back to jail after coming back from being dead.
Oh, man, that would be that's like a double, right? Then what? What do? They can't put you on death row. I guess they let you rot, right? You're like, if he was supposed to get the chair or something.
As if he could rot if you just keep getting revived.
See, and if you play the religious card, if he starts saying, God save me, this and that, I'm sure he'll have some people that back him on that.
Well, I guess then you could do 2 consecutive life terms.
He's like, I'm gonna outlive all of you. I'm going to be here forever.
Why is he even in here again? But anyways, yeah.
Right.
So she goes over to like where the tracks would be. She's following.
But before we get that though, remember she does point out that this horse was moved then.
Oh yeah.
That this is not the case. I was like, yeah, because it was like then somebody
the tracks down the line.
Up. Yeah, the tracks don't match up. Somebody moved this horse, so they're trying to hide something.
They're trying to
Right,
hide the
because
fact
if
that a
this
human did something here, and
did
so,
something to the horse, and then they picked up the horse and moved it.
which is
Right.
smart. I mean,
So
they went on, they could have just got rid of the horse somewhere else, or I don't know. I feel like there's probably
Yep,
more
yep,
ways to
yep.
get rid of the horse, but anyways, yeah. So she finds the railroad track. She's doing, looking around. She goes by Miles's cabin. And this was a really cool shot. She walks up to the cabin. You see the axe. There's like an axe in the wood. There's a fire still going, so she knows that someone's here. She
Yeah,
walks
yeah,
in.
yeah.
She's looking for him. He's not there. The camera pans
Dark,
back,
creepy.
and the axe is gone. So now we see him come from behind. He's yelling. She dodges out of the way. They have a whole little scuffle. He's like, "I'm not going back." He has a real southern accent. He's like, "I'm not going back. You ain't coming."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. He brought it.
For being very north.
And then we're finally, and then we look him up and find out he's from England. Hello, cheerio. Yeah. I mean, some of these English actors can do amazing accents for Americans.
Well, he's like, wait, I live in a cabin. Do I have to start speaking like?
Yeah, I guess.
I live in the forest, and now I got to talk like this somehow.
Well, he's definitely not from there because no one else has that accent in Wisconsin.
True, yeah.
So it's not like we're trying to judge like, oh, well, that's how they talk. No, they don't. So what was it? He got his leg stuck, right?
Stuck in a trap.
Mm-hmm.
His arm. His arm.
Yep, his arm gets stuck in the trap. He starts screaming, "Get me out of there!" And she basically wants to know what's going on. You move the horse. Like, I didn't move any horse. Well, why would I want to move a horse?
What horse?
Right? What horse? What apples? What are you talking about? But she handcuffs him. She's like, "You're going back to jail." I was like, "No, I'll help you out."
Well, he healed too from the cut. The cut from.
Well, that's yeah. Once she took the trap off, he healed up, and it doesn't matter. You're going back to jail. But he says that I did see a red truck. And there was a picture, and that truck could have moved the horse, and that it was out further from like the farmlands or whatever. So
then we cut
this. Did she? All right. So you were gonna say it because I was like, I don't think I looked at my notes. I don't have any mention of her bringing him into the station.
No, they cut from there, and they cut to directly.
So we have to assume.
Sitting.
Do you think she let him go because he provided this useful information? No, right? She brought him in. All right, you can keep going with it.
But we cut to M sitting, waiting at their usual spot. It's like a bench. She looks cold. She looks like she's going through it. The guy's not showing up, so she calls her dad. The dad's sitting. He's finally home. He's like probably annoyed that his phone's been going off like crazy.
This scene with the dad sitting in a recliner in the living room with his uniform still on remind me of Stranger Things, Hopper.
Oh yeah,
remember how he
lately.
when he was going through all the stuff in the early seasons, and he was just bummed out, stressed, and lived in a beat up house, and he would just come home, same thing, crack open a beer, just sit there like, oh, and that's what I got from.
You go from probably not doing much to like,
exactly. It was like small town. Next, his phone is always blowing up, and here it is again, phone's blowing up, but this time it picks up because it's M.
It's like, where have you been? Like, and they're really stressing the point that she's been off college doing whatever she wants. Traveling, so they haven't heard from her in a minute, and they're saying like, oh, I heard you've been gone, you need to call me more and check in. And
I think that's the case with all parents. I mean, my mom calls me all the time. She's like, I haven't heard from you in days.
Are you alive?
2 days. Relax. But no, understandably here, because we hear this, and then later on we'll get into it with Dana, who she says it was like weeks.
Yeah.
Right? She sort of brings up that it was weeks. So I'm just either way, something else is going on. But she basically says, I'm okay. I care. I love you. I'm all right. That type of thing. Just like a check-in type of call. But when she hangs up, she starts crying. She said,
yeah. So then we cut. It's early morning, and Dana's driving, and she looks over and she sees M on a bench, and she's like, "What?" Like, one, she hasn't seen her in forever. Two, like, what is happening? So she brings her in the car, and they're having a little conversation, and we get some past stuff about Dana here. She used to have, I guess, a husband or a partner named Derek. They had the kid together.
Was it Derek or Eric?
I heard Derek.
You heard Derek?
I wrote down Derek in my notes here, but it could be Eric. Yeah, I have Derek. Same name.
All right, Derek. Well, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
And then he cheated on her, and like one of the things they did, like after they broke up, is they went to get donuts, and it was like a celebration, and that M was gonna travel and go into Myrtle Beach and go on like a trip before college, and Dana was supposed to come with her, but then didn't because she found out that she was pregnant with Cooper.
Yeah, so that's Derek is Cooper's dad, and then right before I just realized it was a quick scene. She dropped off Cooper over at her dad's because she said that she had to go to the outer areas of the quarantine zone where the farmland, the rural area, to try to solve this mystery. So he's going to be watching Cooper during this time, and then
making
that's
like pancakes and stuff.
Yeah, making pancakes.
And then of course he gets a phone call, like he's hearing screaming from this lady's house. So he's like, "Do I have to go over there?" They're like, "Yeah, please. Like, we need you over there." So he's like, "All right, come with me." So he brings the kid with him, which is crazy. So two parallels of similar things.
Yeah, this, you know what, with this scene, and as we get into it, would have been cool if they would have done like frame by frame. This is based off of a comic, you know what I mean? Just like a picture-in-picture type of deal. Sort of like what we have right here going on. Just like one and just see, because they were both going through the same motions. So on one side, we have Dana and M in the car ride. M is basically saying, "Listen, I just want to stay with you," because Dana was like, "Let me just bring you back to the dorm once this is done." No. I want to hang with you and eat donuts in the car.
Well, she also says, like, "Hey, how about when this quarantine is over, we go on a trip, like, just me and you?" And she's like,
"Go on an adventure."
Like, an adventure. And then as she's driving, she stops the car. She sees something, and she pulls over, and she sees a red truck covered with a tarp. Yep. And as she's walking out, this couple comes out immediately, seeing that there's a police car outside. And they're like, "What seems to be the problem, officer?" And she's like, "Did you see a horse?" And they're like, No, we never had anything. No horse there. Mr. and Mrs. Dittman, I believe their names are. No horse. And then we hear like stuff banging in the barn. She's like, "What's happening in the barn?" No search warrant. I guess you don't need a warrant.
Yeah, I mean, they
probable cause,
and probable cause. There's blood. I mean, she could have brought all that stuff, but then these small towns, I don't think they think about that. That's a big city problem. That's Law and Order type of stuff.
What are you guys doing in there? Open the doors.
Exactly. You're trying to come in my club, but where's the warrant? No, we're still doing coke in the back.
I feel like New Yorkers are like, "Where's the warrant for anything?"
Exactly. Oh,
New Yorkers are like, "Where's the warrant?"
Oh man, I could go on a whole rant of how many times I've been stopped over in the street. But anyway, but then when we flip over now, right? We go over now at the same time that this is happening. As Dana's walking to the barn, we see her dad Wayne. He's getting out of his squad car. He leaves Cooper. He's walking to the home. Now, this really quick, what they were saying was neighbors were complaining about disturbance, loud noises and banging and all this stuff coming from this old lady's house. Right. So then she knocks, old lady peeks through. "Oh, what's the problem, officer?" I was like, "Oh, I'm hearing this disturbance, all this stuff." "Nope, everything is fine here. Thanks for coming." And that is the old lady that we saw at the precinct.
Looking for her husband, seeing if he came back.
Yeah, they're talking about her husband, asking if he was there. Is he coming back? He died after the day that everybody in.
He's like, we're getting calls, disturbances, and he's like, "Do you mind if I come in? Just a welfare check." Looking at her hands covered in dirt, her nails dirty, everything.
Oh yeah. And then we clearly know what's going on.
He smells something. He's going like this. He's like, "Let me walk in." He walks in. There's like a mound of dirt. So I guess just all the dirt was brought in. And he walks into the kitchen and flies and everything, and so messed up.
And the body's just there.
He's just like in the table.
And what was it? She was cracking up some lines here too. She was like, "Oh well, he's gonna come back. He's gonna turn back. He's just always been slow with things.
He's not yet dead.
He's not yet dead. He'll be back soon.
Like Monty Python."
Yeah, it's like, oh man, it reminded me of a scene from anybody that played Red Dead Redemption, and the first one, and there was a side mission where you could pick up daisies. There was a guy picking up flowers, and he's like, "Yeah, it's my anniversary, and I need to collect flowers. So if you help him collect these flowers, then he invites you to the house to meet his wife."
Yeah.
Right. So then after you do all this, you find all these flowers in all different parts of the map. They weren't close to the house. So you have to just collect them. And then when you go back, he's like, oh, you know what? Thanks. I got the flowers. It's going to be great. She's going to love it. You want to come meet her? Oh, come on. And then you go in and then you see your character's face is shocked. And we look and it's a decomposed body at the table. And he's like, look, honey, we got you the flowers.
That seems to be a theme in
Oh.
a lot of stuff. It's like, oh
Yeah.
why aren't
This
you eating
guy
your
went-
food? And the body's like,
Exactly. He went crazy. He was like, yeah, everything. Oh, thanks
it's
for
a scary
helping.
movie 3.
We're going to
and
have
he's
a
like,
great
are you
night.
okay?
Yeah. And then he's like, oh, well, have a good anniversary and walks out. But in this case, same type of deal. He doesn't really do much with this. He just like, all right. And he leaves.
He calls it
'Cause
in, I
he-
believe.
Yeah. I mean, he calls him, well, what are you going to do? He doesn't arrest her. He doesn't bring her in for anything. She clearly needs some medical help. Something's
Yeah.
going on with her. This is too much.
It's sad.
It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking because she just wants her loved one to come back like everyone else. And I'm sure a lot of people, especially if you were just a day off from revival day,
That suck.
that's the worst. What if it was like a minute off? What if at 12 midnight everyone came up and then this happened, right?
You
The flat line at the hospital, and then you see all the other bodies at flatline and they're all coming up, and then you're looking at your loved one and it's like, get up. You're breaking the chakras out. Get up. It's your turn. Oh,
So Dana breaks open the padlock, I guess that was on the door, and she walks into the barn, and there's nothing. It's a dark barn. She doesn't really see anything going on. She finds teeth on the floor again, and they did a really cool shot here too. Before panning back to her father, you see someone on the rafter on the top, like crouching down.
Oh yeah.
Then when they cut back to it later, she jumps down, and we see it's an old lady in a gown, and she's just like crawling towards her.
And that's from the comic. We got this old lady. It's the same thing, and that was very cool scene with the old lady.
Because Mrs. Denman goes, "Mom, no!" Like, and and it pans in, and you see her like pulling her teeth out. And she's like, "They keep growing in.
They keep coming back." Yeah, it's like no matter what she does, and
she doesn't want her teeth.
It's just because she said she can't. I don't know if she says it here, but in the comic, she says she can't put in her dentures. She was so used to using her dentures, and now she's growing all these teeth. So she pulls them out. She doesn't want them.
So I guess things are healing.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. They didn't mention it here, but in the comic, her reason is because she can't put in her dentures, and the teeth are getting in the way.
She probably has like some dementia too, or something going on.
Yeah, something else is going on here, and that brings up another thing. If that happens, you come back. Do you come back healed in the brain if you had dementia or something else going on?
Because then I would assume like if you came back with an illness, you keep dying. But yeah. So Miss Damon tries to get in the way of it, trying to protect her mom. The old lady lunges at everybody. The old lady grabs her daughter, I guess, and throws her, and ironically gets impaled through the head on the wall.
Pretty sad, right on the wall. I mean, you don't go into a barn. The barns are very dangerous.
Stay away from barns.
Like my garage is very dangerous. I've tripped on all kinds of things there, so I could just imagine in a barn. You got all kinds of machinery. You got rakes.
Unless you have horses in there or some cool stuff, like just stay out of the barn.
Yeah, right. Well, stay out of the barn. But it was pretty cool. She got a spike in the head. The husband freaks out.
Her.
He's like, So he wants to get into it. Go ahead.
So then now the lady's attacking Dana. Dana starts shooting her. Obviously, nothing's happening. So all of a sudden, the lady gets out a scythe, which is ironically the thing that the Grim Reaper holds. So it's like literally death coming back, and stabs.
Well, because M heard all this chaos. She heard all the screams and stuff, and she leaves the squad car and she goes into the barn.
Yeah, to help her sister.
And
gets stabbed horribly.
Yeah, horrible gash to the gut. The type that would just pour everything out. And it's funny because in an earlier part when they were talking about hanging out in the car, they brought up Evil Dead. And but there's a lot of gore scenes in Evil Dead, especially the original with all the blood. Sam Raimi, and they loved it. They loved the blood. We loved it too. But we get some of this here, right? It's gorging out. It's like, oh, she drops. Dana's freaking out.
Now my thing is here: is this lady possessed by something right now? Like what's happening? Like she's so feral. Like
we find out more later.
Okay, never mind.
So find out more later.
But she stabs M, and Dana screams, and she's trying to attack the lady. Lady turns around and starts choking M now, and everything's looking like it's the end. All of a sudden, we
Wait,
hear
before we get to, because this is the last scene. Before that, when Wayne goes back to his car after he made that call, the door's open. Cooper's gone.
Cooper's gone. Yeah.
Remember, he that's the last we see of them at that point. We don't know what happened, but then then it cuts back to here, all this chaos. Then it looks like Dana's about to bite the dust in the first episode.
We hear a slicing sound, and then we just see like just blood pouring from her head, and then her scalp just comes off, and I guess half her brain slides off, and then she just drops. And we see Em again holding the scythe now, and we see it healing. And so
her wound healing.
Oh, she's one of the revived.
She's one of the revived.
And I said it right, like when we started watching it, I said it, and Adam was like, well, you gotta keep watching.
Yep. So we can get into a few things. One, our thoughts of this show and this episode, and two, about M. Oh, which one do you want to start first? Real quick, with M or the show?
M and then the show.
All right, M. I think maybe either she was murdered in the tub. Maybe the boyfriend, the professor came over, wanted to end the relationship. She didn't want to end it, or something was going to happen. Some news was going to come out, and he killed her. This is what I'm thinking, because of the way he freaked out. If you're missing someone, let's say she was missing for the 2 weeks from everyone, right, for that time, then you would think he would have approached her like, oh man, where you been? Just like everybody else was saying, where you been?
The tub in the water was murky. All the stuff was dirty in the room. But that being said, was that, we got to see it again. Like, was that scene then it showed 35 days later, or like was it the same revival night? Because no, because the friend came in. She said that the quarantine was over. So
the quarantine was over, so she was heading out.
So I think she's in a deep depression, and she was in the tub, and that's why she's not cleaning everything. Something happened, and she knows that she died. Maybe she took her own life.
She knows, because there's 2 points: either then or when she made the call to her dad. When that whole thing happened, maybe the professor did show up and killed her. And then she got up and then realized, wow, did I die? Because that
call to that dad is the night before. She waited for him.
But that's what I'm saying. Maybe he did show up.
Maybe she wouldn't be revived again. She had to have died at that time that everyone's coming back.
Oh yeah.
I don't think it means like everyone in the town.
It's not. It doesn't continue. It's not continue. It was only from that one day. Yeah. So we have to go back to what happened. Where was she that day?
There's something definitely with that professor. And the professor knows that she died.
Definitely knows. Yeah. All right. So there we go. So we'll try to figure that out.
That's why he was so hesitant, and that's why he didn't want to come see her, because now he's freaked out.
Yeah. He's probably on the run. We'll find out. Maybe in the next episode, it's like the professor no-showed the school and he just moved out, but he can't because they're under quarantine. Yeah. So no one can leave the town. So unless he tries to sneak out.
I can't wait to see all the dynamics of like different stories of people that died, people coming back. You know, but also it depends on like how soon did they die? Like, was it a couple weeks later? Like, because the husband's body wasn't that decayed, so it had to be relatively in that. It was like 30 days later, right?
30-something days. Yeah. And people, I'm sure there's people out there that have read the comics all the way through, and they're like, I know the answers. Go ahead, you can comment below. We have the same going on with Murderbot on the channel. A lot of people read Murderbot Diaries and commenting. It's fantastic. Just avoid spoilers. That's all we ask. Just avoid spoilers. But yeah, if there's certain parts that you can fill in the blanks, right, without spoiling too much, and just giving some backstory context, because some of that is like skipping through. Then
I'm gonna read the comic now. I'm gonna go for the comic.
Oh yeah. You can read them, check them out. They were good. I remember. I don't know what happened. I want to say something happened with one of the kids. Maybe it was around 2016 when my son was born. I know there was something that pulled me away, and I was like, all right, I'll get back to this, and I never got back to it. But anyway, all right, so
that was good.
Yeah, overall, right? The show is good. This is something different. It's a different approach. I feel it will get. Go ahead.
I feel like the acting was like a little strange in certain parts, but but the overall story I feel is good.
Yeah. Now, is it the acting or is the lines?
The lines, yeah, it's not the acting.
The
it's
lines, right? Because that's the thing. It's the lines, especially when it comes to Wayne and some of his
lines are making me laugh.
his lines.
Get over here! You're supposed to go and see where the horse is. What do you do?
Yeah, yeah. Some of the lines there, like, really, would this be your top priority with everything that's going on and how you doing? But it's like, all right. But
Even
I
with
do
Ibrahim,
like
I feel his lines are weird. Yeah.
Ibrahim, very on key of the nerdy guy. You know, there's always one. You know, there was Adam that was in CSI New York. It always comes to mind because they never really changed him up. And later on, he became like the super SWAT guy on TV, like doing all this crazy action stuff. But then in this show, he was just the nerdy tech guy in the background. And they always made him awkward and the butt of jokes and stuff. And whenever it was like, oh, there's a gaming convention, Adam must know about. Yeah, well, of course I do. I went to I hate when they do that. I hate that. You would think they would pass that stereotype already, but no. But we got this guy. He's doing the whole thing, right? But I like Dana's character. You know, she seems very. Like I said, the same thing with Fiona.
And it was just the pilot. It's the first episode, you know.
Yeah, first episode. I'm introducing, and then that's the other thing. As these characters play these roles, they become more comfortable, and I'm sure we'll probably see that as the episodes progress through.
Yeah,
and
I'm excited
to see how they deliver them. But yeah, overall, I think this is good. So if people are listening to this who are like, I'm on the fence, I don't know if I'm going to watch it. It is worth watching. Definitely check it out. It's a different take on the whole zombie.
Something different,
genre.
something new. Yeah. It feels fresh. It feels cool.
Yeah, it definitely does. Definitely does. Yeah. So everybody, thank you for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, stick around. We got this show, and if we share, some people, it's always funny when that happens because someone will say, oh, I've been sharing it, and then when it'll pass on, and then we do see an increase. That's the funny thing. It's one thing to share to people, but I guess they're sharing it to people that they know would be interested in some of the shows that we're covering, because then we'll see the number, the boop, 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 and I'm like, oh wow, that's great. You know,
numbers are going up. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we're almost at 700 subs. You know,
and
we've been covering 3 shows right now. We got The Last of Us that wrapped up. We got Mobland that just wrapped up. We're still doing Murderbot. We have this one now. We are planning to do Dexter Resurrection. That's another one on the channel.
I can't wait for that.
Chief of War is another one. The Jason Momoa Apple TV. That's planned. We got that set up. So there's a bunch. So a lot of good TV shows out there, and we're covering the ones that we want to cover. So thanks again. We'll be back next week for episode 2. And thanks again for tuning in, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Peace.